I am deep in the writing process of my new RPG zine called Dragon Town. I am learning a ton about writing adventures, and I got some tips I want to share with you. Let's go. So the Kickstarter for my zine, Flick Silverpen's Guide to Dragon Town, is wrapping up. There's only a few days left, and it's been absolutely insane so far. So the Kickstarter was funded in an hour, and to say that I am blown away by the support is an extreme understatement. If you clicked on this video and you have no idea what Dragon Town is, check out the first link down in the description. It'll take you to the Kickstarter page where you can find out all about the zine. If you like fun, whimsical, mysterious D&D adventures, you will definitely like the Dragon Town zine. And even if you don't plan on running the adventure, the zine is jam-packed with ideas, places, NPCs, and monsters that you can steal for your own D&D game. I also want to say at the very beginning that I definitely do not consider myself an expert at writing tabletop RPG adventures. It's just that I'm in the middle of writing one right now and I'm learning a ton. And I just wanted to share a few of my thoughts and hopefully inspire you to write your own adventure. The big, most important, number one piece of advice I have is to constantly iterate. So what do I mean by iterate exactly? Well, let me use a drawing as an example. When I start a drawing, it always begins with a super rough sketch. This is a drawing of Blue. He is the leader of a catfolk thieves guild. At this stage, it's not a very good drawing. It's not very well defined. You probably can't even really tell that it is a cat thief dude, but technically that is what it is. And of course I don't just stop there. Next, I add a little bit more detail. I refine things, I move things around. I add a little bit more complexity to the drawing, refine it a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and eventually I'll have a drawing that I'm happy with and that actually looks like a cat thief dude. So the same thing goes for writing an adventure. I started the Dragon Town zine with the most basic plot outline. It's a valley full of magical apple orchards, and the dragon mayor of this town has gone missing. Like, literally, that's all I started with. I didn't know who any of the characters were. I didn't know any of the places or any things the players were going to encounter. Just the very most basic setting and a plot hook to get things going. So then I iterated a little bit. I started thinking about what type of places would be in this town, what type of people, what type of things the players would encounter, and I came up with an inn and an innkeeper and some goatlands and a farm and just kept going from there. So like, how does this innkeeper feel about adventurers coming into town? How do they feel about the dragon mayor? How do they feel about the goatlands and the person that runs the general store? You know, the person that runs the general store probably likes adventurers coming through because they have a lot of cool stuff to sell. Ideas are gonna spring up and fall away, but all you need is a simple foundation like valley filled with magic apples and a missing dragon mayor. And then you can just slowly add on, change things around, make things more complex, and pretty soon you'll have yourself a fun little adventure. So in my process right now, I have Dragon Town completely written and planned out in a way that I could sit down and run this campaign for my friends as a dungeon master. But I'm still not done iterating because this is going to be a zine. I have to keep on refining and simplifying and making things more complex and get everything just right so that anyone that picks up this book will have everything they need to run the adventure. But yeah, the point is always be iterating. Second tip. Now this one might be kind of obvious, but I just think it's so important. And that is to fill your adventure up with cool stuff. But really, I mean, fill it up with stuff that you think is cool and your players too. It is really important to think about what they think is cool as well. You gotta include your players. So for Dragon Town, I wanted it to have a dragon, obviously, slimes, goblins, zombies, thieves guild, a crypt, a ruined castle to explore, all the classic D&D stuff, because that's what I think is cool. Again, with the iterations, you gotta go one step further and think about what would make that stuff even cooler. Think about what would make it even cooler for you, for me, for you. So they aren't just regular zombies, they puke and fart, and really that's just because I think it would be awesome to play out that encounter at the table. Be super fun and funny. They aren't just regular goblins, they're goatlins. They're goat goblins that love to eat magical apples. And the Thieves Guild is actually a group of catfolk that are trying to steal the dragon's treasure, but they can't get into the castle, so they're building a catapult to launch themselves over the walls. Is that dumb? Yes. Is it cheesy? Yes. Do I love it? Yes, I do. I love it. Quick interjection. I should say that the Dragon Town zine is going to be written in a way makes it easy for you to run this adventure however you want. So the zombies can be dark and scary or funny and light. You can totally leave out the catapult if that's not your thing. I'm working really hard to make it a flexible adventure that would fit into whatever type of game you like to run. Side note, over. So think about the type of games that you like to run and play in, the things that you think are cool. So maybe you want to create a more horror-filled adventure with giant elder gods that are driving everybody crazy. Or maybe it's a retro sci-fi world with lizard men and ray guns. Or maybe it's a fun game for kids that's based on video games, so there's mushroom power-ups and diamond armor and all the stuff that kids think is cool. The point is, if you have fun filling up your adventure with NPCs, places, monsters, all the stuff that you think is awesome and cool, then it's really gonna show. So you're gonna have fun running the game and your players are gonna have fun playing it. Tip number 3. Come up with some interesting obstacles. So really, as I have been creating this Dragon Town zine, I've come to realize that I'm not writing a story. I'm just creating this huge list of interconnected obstacles and problems for players to deal with. So the setup for the Dragon Town adventure is that the mayor of Dragon Town, who is a giant gold dragon, has gone missing. Usually when the people of Dragon Town have a problem that they need fixed, they just go to the mayor and the still unnamed dragon happily solves their problems in exchange for a bunch of magic apples. Now, let's do some more iterating. So the dragon is missing, and that's a fun mystery, but what else is happening around town because of the missing dragon? Well, I already mentioned that there is a group of these catfolk thieves that are trying to steal the dragon's treasure. So that's kind of a problem, right? But let's go one step further and add even more obstacles. So these thieves have come to town and they're trying to figure out how to steal the dragon's treasure, but in the meantime, they are robbing people on the way into the general store. Now, that store owner who is excited to have adventurers come buy up all their cool stuff has a problem that needs to be solved. So Dragon Town is filled with obstacles and problems. There's goatlins ransacking farms, there's slimes in the streets, there's zombies rising up out of the cemetery. There's an owlbear building a nest from apple trees. There's griffin sightings because there's no more dragon around. Tons of problems everywhere. Lots of adventure to be had. So an adventure is conflict, it's peril, it's exploration, it's mystery. And if you've got players rolling into town looking for adventure and all these problems start popping up in front of them, you better believe that they're going to want to at least solve some of them. And I think that's where the real story happens, It's not you or me writing it. It's on the table, seeing how the players tackle these problems, and then seeing how the characters in this world react to the players and how they tackled these problems. So when you can put down a fun, interesting obstacle in front of the players, one that you've worked on and iterated on and had fun coming up with some cool concept, one that has consequences and rewards, that is going to leave your players wanting more. And I think that is what makes a good adventure. Okay, so obviously there's a ton more to writing adventures. These are just a few things I've been thinking about as I've been reworking and polishing up the Dragon Town adventure. If any of this was helpful or sounded cool to you, I would super appreciate if you checked out the Dragon Town Kickstarter. I'm really proud of all the work that I've put into this crazy little zine, and I'm so thankful for all the support it's gotten so far. Check out the Kickstarter page down in the description and let me know if you have any questions in the comments, or better yet, leave some of your favorite tips for writing adventures down in the comments. That would be super helpful. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. See ya!